Yo, what's up, man? This is the last episode of the series. So, we're gonna go straight into it. It's, touching on the same subjects or topic areas: education, money, PT and accommodation, relationships, drugs and gambling. Education first. So, coming into this year, obviously I did my master's part-time, 2 years, so this is obviously the second year. There was a module on either side of the year, plus a dissertation. More time, I couldn't really tell you what the modules on either side of the year were about. I probably have to sit down and actually think about it, but that's not really too important because it was overshadowed by how frustrated I was with my dissertation. So that frustration started pretty much as soon as the year started. So I had a long summer off to kind of sit back, chill, focus on PT, and before I came back into a hellish year of being depressed. Everything kicked off with an idea that I didn't have. So I spent maybe the first 2-3 months trying to plot up an idea about something I wanted to write about. More time I had nothing that I really wanted to write about, but I mean, if you wanted to get this piece of paper that says you finished your master's, you have to have an idea about something. So eventually, after about 2 or 3 months, I came up with a systematic review. Hold on a second. Do you know what? I don't have my dissertation because it was on paper. It was done on, we didn't print it, and I'm not even interested in printing it because more time I'm just, it just brings back bad memories. At least this one was like, this old one was reminiscent of the work that I put in over 4 years. This one was just reminiscent of depression I had for 365 days. I don't have memories of that. I even threw away my notes like the other day. I just know, you have to get rid of some things, and certain things you keep. That was to get rid of. Detour. Let's get back to it. We got our idea after 2 or 3 months. I had an initial idea, but I had to scrap that because the actual practicality of it wasn't really feasible. So I had to basically change my idea with about, 6 months of writing time, which is enough writing time, but either way, it was just a bit stressful just because of the type of person I am. I like to get things done early. I had maybe 2 weeks spare when I finished writing my dissertation, and in hindsight I was actually frustrated that I didn't look back on it a little bit earlier, because after the 2 weeks of refreshing, or relaxing should I say, I was more than ready to actually add some in. So I was a bit annoyed that I didn't, but I mean, who cares? I got my grade. I didn't actually start writing anything down until January, which gave me, there's 12 months in the year. September is the 9th month. 9 months to write my dissertation, and I took it nice and slow. But then at the same time, I had what was the second module? Doesn't matter. But I had another module that I was writing at the same time, which I pretty much done and dusted quick time because I was too busy focusing on trying to get this done. But I spent countless weekends, evenings just sitting in that library just to get this work out, read this paper, read that paper, read this paper, highlight notes, write it down on paper, cycle returns, read this paper, read this paper, read this paper, write it down on paper, the cycle returns. Countless hours. I was just frustrated. It was just, and then at the same time, because the same thing was happening in the summer holiday, you see this person's going to this country, that person's going to that country, this person's in this festival, this person's in this festival. It was so depressing. I mean, not to say that you can't go and do that stuff too, but you have to think about, cool, you're gonna take that week off. You have to think about the time, like I'm from London, or maybe still really know, so I'm gonna go to London first and probably fly out from there. So let's just call that's 14 days that you're probably not going to do any work. And then obviously I went carnival as well, but that was like the highlight of my 2019 summer. I was too busy writing 15,000 words. And then on top of that, obviously there was a PT, so our shifts changed. The way our rota worked out changed maybe the back end of 2018. Yeah, so I was working Tuesday evenings, Wednesday mornings, Thursday nights. There was even a period I was still working Saturday nights and Friday midday, but hey, so you've got 12 hours a day, where 12 hours on 3 days a week. You got 4 days, you got 3 days, you're working 4 hours, which equals to 12 hours, which means that 12 hours every week, they're straight up eliminated. Plus on top of that, I had between 10 and 15 hours on varying months of PT on top of that, plus programming, you know, so it was tough. And then on top of that, I wanted to coach basketball at Notre Dame, which is like a college like not far from where I was living. So I'm coaching basketball, I'm writing my dissertation, I'm PTing on the side. I mean, I'm sure you can see why I was depressed all the time. Not even depressed, I was just pissed off. You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, like having to interact with people or people wanting certain things or your time, it was just hard to be like happy at all. And I think, unfortunately, my mood kind of rubbed off on different people. Like, I think people may have felt that maybe I'm just being moody and mean, where it was just an accumulation of different stresses plowing through my head. And I'm not really good at dealing with stress, but most time I'm not really a stressful person. I'm really chilled and relaxed. Even on top of that note, the thing that even helped me the most was drugs, marijuana, weed. That was my savior. I don't know how much money I wasted on that thing last year, but that was my savior. And it was probably why I think that year so that was last year, I spent so much money smoking, because it's like, you know, 12 hours PT 12 hours on shift, another 12 to 15 PT in, 2 hours basketball there, plus maybe the game day. It was intense. It was intense. I don't think everyone's built to do a master's. You have to have a certain driven personality to do it. And to be honest, even now I still feel a bit drained from it, but I'm still want to come up. And I feel like I'm a little bit distracted because I've been doing work for 20 years of school, and now that I'm finally free, it's like, wow. You know what I'm saying? It's like you've just lifted something off your shoulders and it's just gone bah on the floor. You know what I'm saying? From an accommodation standpoint, so I lived with my boy Ryan, and low-key that was actually a stress in itself. Not Ryan, but some of the stuff that came with living with Ryan. No disrespect, Ryan, it's not that, just let me finish. So, when we moved into the house, we had a guy that moved in with us. There's me thinking it was only a temporary, like until the end of summer, but at some point he was saying certain things that made me suggest that you're living in this yard for the whole year. So I had to check back with Ryan and think, like, well, what's this guy insinuating? And he said, yeah, he's staying for the year. And I was like, what? No, that can't run. You're gonna have to, because I was gonna let him stay in the yard for the summer at a discounted rate, but he wanted to live in a year for 12 months at a discounted rate. So you have to pre-it. Man's paying the full masters by myself with my student loan plus working on top. Yeah, and you want to get discounted rate to live in my yard for 12 months? Nah. So that we ended up parting ways, which was more comfortable for me because he was a very messy and loud person. He's a good guy, don't get twisted, but you know, there was certain things that just can't run, and he wanted to try and take advantage of man, so we had to sort out that situation. And the other thing, so again, moving into a two-man house, the second stressor, and it's not her fault. So my guy had a girl, and I respect his girl highly. Don't get twisted where like she's G in it, but so certain things where I don't know how certain people feel about this, because one of my clients actually had a conversation about this the other day as well, where if you live in, let's just say you live in a house of two and you've got a girlfriend, by all means, your girlfriend or your boyfriend, please come around. But when I've come back from work and your housemate isn't in, but you're in, and you're in the communal living space, and it's just a bit like, I didn't expect you to be there. Like, by all means, like, every once in a while, do your thing, innit? But it's just like, yo, like I didn't really expect to see you, and I just had a long day and I really wanted some aero time. So those two things really got to me, and they both got sorted out. I guess both for the best, at least for me. And they both worked out in a way that this one was interested in more, and this one she was still here, but she wasn't really disturbing. I don't use the word disturbing because she wasn't disturbing me. I just wasn't comfortable with the idea that man could be out for 12 hours and then you could be at work, but you know, things that in the yard, and she has her own yard. But other than that, them man, they're all cushy, but you know, I'm just very particular in it. So I feel like I'm justifying myself, but it's not justifying, it's just what it is and what it was. Just like the rest of university, I lost just as much money gambling this year as I did every other year. However, I think this year, I feel like the re-evolution of me began in the sense that I wanted to become the person I was when I was 18 in relation to no drugs, no drugs, no alcohol, no gambling. The issue is with the smoking, the approach. So, man smoked all year and man backed it down. Don't get twisted. I rarely drank. But the gambling, I began self-excluding myself from so many different gambling websites. And to this day, I don't think there's a single gambling website that I'm actually, maybe Betway, maybe it's been 6 weeks, but even that, every 6 weeks I self-exclude myself. There's not a single one that, apart from Betway, I think I use now. And that's what it's taken for me to stop losing money through gambling. And to be honest, since I've stopped gambling, I think I've been saving maybe 50 to 100 quid a month now. And it's not too much, but you have to think about it relatively, like, especially when I was doing my masters, I wasn't earning bags where I could be like, yeah, £50, take it. But at the same time, it wasn't holding me back, but I was like, I couldn't really do anything. It's just the principle of losing money. And it's not like you're Cristiano Ronaldo where you can just gamble it and you win it back through sponsorship money. So even forward after finishing my masters, with the gambling thing, like it's funny because it's not something to be proud of, but you have to think about where you've come from, and especially over the last 6 years. I am 3 months clean, or whatever date it is today. It is March 11th at 3:20. I haven't placed a single bet since, I want to say, the 22nd or the 23rd of December. I really wanted to bet on Boxing Day, but I lost not a lot of money, but I lost enough money for me to be like, nah, I've had enough during the World Championships of darts. So I'm really proud of that. And even with the weed, thinking about to this day, I haven't picked up for myself. So pick up means to go and meet your drug dealer and get some drugs off him. I haven't done that for, if Amsterdam was about 5 weeks ago, I don't think I've picked up my own drugs in 7 or 8 weeks, and I have no real ambition or motivation to want to do it. So I'm quite happy about my change, and I hope that I can maintain this level of focus or distance from the gambling and the other thing that I do or did. Relationships. So Tina is long gone. Oh, is that her name? Now you know. She's gone. I mean, I've been dating. I'm over that. I've been dating. I'm not really held back by that anymore. So at least on that front, that's probably the one front in this whole episodes. What do you call it? A bunch of episodes series. That's probably the one thing in this whole series that I'm probably completely over at 90%. I'm probably more over gambling than I am actually. And the gambling, I don't really give a damn anymore. You know, I'll put a bit on here and there, but I just don't have the care to do so. I'll probably smoke. Do you know what? With the smoking, I will only smoke now with somebody. So I haven't gone out and bought my own, but I have. I'm not gonna lie and say I haven't smoked in the last 7 weeks, but you can probably count on one hand. Amsterdam, when the guys came up, which was probably even before Amsterdam, and I don't really count that. But my friend's birthday, that's 3. So I don't really, unless I'm with people. And that's how I want it to be now. I want it to be a social thing. Like, I will refuse to drink if I'm not going out or I'm not in a social circle. That's just how it's always been. I get buzzed off drinking, but I want my smoking habits to be level with my drinking habits. You know, it's a one-off thing. So yeah. My masters made me depressed. My money was cool. I didn't actually touch on that, but you know, my money was cool. I wasn't gambling so much. I actually had money, and I had expendable money for the second time in my life. You know, so that's the university series. I hope that there's elements of this that people find useful, or understand, or can see for themselves and use to better themselves, which was the whole reason I made this. I feel like I could have done a better job, but when you're talking to a camera, it's really hard to convey what you wrote on paper the same way you wrote it on paper. I tried. From now on, the content I'm going to be producing will be training focused, the main reason I wrote this channel, so look out. And if you have any questions about university, by all means hit me up. I was there for 6 years. I was there then longer than most of you. Even I've been through 2 generations of university students, you know, first year, third year, twice. You know, you can even like this. If you were in year 9 when I started, you were probably finishing your 3rd year. Year 9 or year 10, you probably finishing your 3rd year of university when I finished. That's how long I was in university. Me, I understand university. Bye.